McFarland. I have not uploaded any video except for the Thursday live feed in 5 or 6 weeks. You may be wondering why. My primary video camera died while I was making the last edited video, which was making Bushes and Shrubs, and I dithered for a while before spending what to me is big bucks to replace it. I have grown to appreciate the features of the Sony line of consumer camcorders and wanted to continue with Sony since I was already familiar with how to use it and the odd quirks it has, as opposed to trying to learn the odd quirks of another brand. Well, I did finally buy a replacement for my old camera. It is a used Sony FDR AX53. My previous camera that died, I purchased new. This is used. I bought it on eBay at a reasonable price. Not a cheap price, but a reasonable price. And it is like new. I had an earlier model before I had the AX53. I was using an AX33, and I sold that on eBay and traded up for the AX53 that died. The operation within this family of camcorders is very similar. I am comfortable with it. By the way, if you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? Also, how about a thumbs up? It doesn't really do anything, but it's free and it does make me feel good. Thanks for that, and thanks for watching. By the way, since this is the first time I have used this replacement in production, there may be minor problems to solve, like getting the camera to talk to my downloading software and putting the files in the correct folder. It may take longer than usual, is what I'm saying, and it may be awkward in the editing at times. Looking around the layout the other day, I noticed one area that needed attention. It's the embankment across the road from the House Street station that you see here. When I originally built the area, I simply covered it with scatter and never improved it. I did add some textured ground cover down where the flower bed is, but not over here. Actually, I think the textured ground cover needs a little work too, but I'll get into that at some other time. The first thing I did was I made some more of my bushes and shrubs, and you can see how I made these in a prior video. Here's a link. I wasn't really sure what would strike me as needed once I got to work on it, so I made a number of bushes of various sizes and shapes. I just left the ground cover in place and added a few elements on top of it. First, I added some vines. These were made from polyfiber, teased out to a more stranded look. Then I added scatter leaves on top and glued them on. I added 2 vine areas, one much larger than the other, and when I was done with that, I started adding the bushes and shrubs. I may need some other elements. And I have some little trees that I threw together, little baby trees that I think are appropriate. After all, who would mow an embankment like that? They're going to let it go wild. Anyway, while working on it, it struck me that a footbridge to the station might be handy for the people who live nearby. And then I remembered that I already have one at the end of the platform. I'm pretty sure I went through this whole thought process just before I added the existing footbridge / shortcut. Since it would disrupt parking and access, there isn't room for one along here, so I put the current one down at the end of the platform. And every time I look at it, it reminds me of the shortcut to the station in York. I've stayed in B&Bs down around that area along the shortcut, and I always enjoyed taking that shortcut to the station. I don't know why, I just did.